Hello, good afternoon, and happy Saturday to everybody. And thanks for joining. As you join in, let me know where you're joining in from. Today, we're talking about the three phases you need to become a Scrum Master. The title for our today video is actually "Why Can't I Get a Scrum Master Job?" So we're going to be looking at questions in that direction. What might be keeping you away from your Scrum Master job? So today it's more of those who want to get into this space. And for those who watch our last live video, which was 2 days ago, we're focusing on the PI planning. So today we want to focus on what it takes to get a Scrum Master job. Now we're going to have two phases of this presentation. The first phase, I'm going to give you a rundown presentation of what it takes to get there. What are the different phases you should be looking into? So if you're not looking into those, you're not yet looking into these different phases, then you might want to reconsider. And then after that, I'm going to take your questions. Okay. So let me know where you're watching in from. I see uh, Emma there from Ohio. Just key and tell me where you're watching in from so I can give you a shout out. And I see Wendy joining in. I see, yeah, Texas. Okay, so I'm super excited. Gonna start with the presentation in a minute, and I'm going to be sharing my slides. So it's going to be a visual presentation, right? So let's get ready and let's get ready to learn. And for those who, if you're not yet linked up with me on YouTube, you also want to check that out. We have a lot of resources and videos coming from YouTube. If you check the description of this video, you are also going to see a link to join me on YouTube, on the Facebook and Instagram. And one challenge that I'm definitely going to be rolling out on Monday, every day I'm going to do send out a 1 minute video that answer one specific question. So I'm going to be rolling that on Instagram. So you want to make sure that you also follow me on Instagram on that. And we also have a Facebook group. I'm definitely going to share the link. I forgot to share that link today. But without wasting much time, the goal is for us to get rolling as fast as possible. Let's go ahead and get started. Today, I want to talk about what are the three different phases you need in order to get a Scrum Master job. Otherwise, the question I'm going to be answering today is what's stopping me? What is stopping me? All right. Is certification enough? So we're going to have that conversation. I do the presentation, then we'll come later on and look at questions and answer where we are going to be answering your questions. All right, perfect. Let me know if you can see my screen. If you can see my screen, just tell me, okay, I can see your screen and I see what is there. So let me have this comment coming in. If you can see my screen, let me know if you can see the screen. Okay, perfect. So you can see that. All right, cool. I guess we can see that. Thank you. Let's get going. All right. So, what are the three different phases you need to become a Scrum Master? What might you be missing in the picture so far? I'm going to be presenting now. I am presenting based on how I help my student get to the position, right? So this might be a bit different from what you know, right? Agile is about flexibility, it's about having an open mindset. So you might have a different strategy, but then let's look at what we have right here. So I'm going to be talking about the three different phases you need, the understanding you need for the market. Now, the first one, which I'm going to talk about, is the first is learning how to become a Scrum Master in less than a week. All right, in less than a week. Now I'm going to talk about what that entails. Now the second phase is about learning how to get a Scrum Master job. That gets to over 120K, 120K annually within 90 days. Very possible. 90 days is kind of the average in the market. You can take less, you can take more, but I've seen people do it in less than a month. I've seen people do it in 2 weeks. I've seen people do it in 40 days. I've seen people do it in 90 days. I've seen people do it in 6 months. The goal in the process is about you learning, right? So we're also going to look at that. And the third phase is where you learn in the job. Now, one of the biggest challenge which we're observing in the field is the inability of people to actually learn from what is going on. I don't know, maybe my screen is not moving. Mm, Anyway, perfect. But if you can hear me, let's just roll up, right? You can follow the conversation behind the scene. Now, a lot of people kind of ask, "Oh, Dr. Francis, how long have you been in the agile space?" And I want to know how long you've been in there. So let me give you a bit of how long I've been in here. Maybe it's gonna get you understand where I'm coming in from. All right. So since 2007, so it's been how many years? More than 15 years, right? I've been in the project management field, and not just project management, I've been coaching since 2012, mentoring other people. I've also been coaching in business. So my style of presentation might be completely different from what you expect out there. It's not something that I built overnight, it's something that have taken me about 15 years to build, which is one of the reasons why I always tell people, okay, if you're coming to our session, you are not just coming because maybe you want to plug in into a class. You're coming to learn how to improve yourself and also learn how to become a scrum master. Now let's kind of get started. On the other stuff, let me mouse reshare again. Maybe we can see where I am right now. So let's talk about the role of a scrum master. How can you become a scrum master in less than a week? Now the scrum master has like about four main value or four main I'm going to call it four main four main rules. A scrum master should have like four main rules. Number one is that a scrum master is a servant leader. Number two, a scrum master is a coach. Number three, facilitator. Number four, teaching. But how do we make it simple? One of the biggest challenge we're having in the market now is that a lot of people that are interviewing think that the role of a scrum master is to remove impediment and to facilitate a team. Okay. But when you build the understanding that you are not invited as a scrum master in a company unless there is a project or a product they want to deliver. Some people have had offer and they say, "Oh, you know what? There was no budget for us to proceed, so we cannot withdraw the position," which which gives you a different understanding that okay, look, the reason they're bringing me in a company as a scrum master is because they want me to help them deliver a business value. That understanding alone gives you a lot of courage and help you to build your own self and your own environment. So the first phase is about you understanding your role as a scrum master. Now, for what I focus on, what I help my student on, I help them focus on the safe scrum master for one main reason. Now, when we talk about safe scrum master, we kind of capturing both PSM and CSM because say Scrum Master, it talk about the environment, which is the enterprise environment, which involves you working with several teams. But for you to work with several teams, you need to know Scrum, right? Which is about facilitating a product. So you cannot talk about safe without talking about Scrum. So a lot of people think like, oh, what's the difference between safe and Scrum? The difference is that safe go more deeper. It talks about Scrum. So while we're teaching safe, we still teach you all the basics that you need in order to facilitate a team and in order to have a high performing team. Now you understand. So what is it about becoming a Scrum Master in 1 week? One of the recommendation of becoming a Scrum Master is just 16 hours of studies time. And for say Scrum Master, if you look at my screen, we have an outline. So I run this training for 4 days and 4 evening, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We spend 4 hours each day where we do not just teach you the go through the slide, but we also do practical, do a lot of breakout room sessions, which makes the experience different from what you're going to see online. And that is why most of our students, by the end of them even having the training, they already understand what they need to do. And one of the things we also do is that we bring in extra material. We start teaching you on the 5 different level of agile product delivery, from the product vision to the product roadmap to the release planning to facilitating iteration, right down to daily stand up. So you realize that you do not just understand daily events like spring planning or so. You understand why is the need of us doing spring planning is to support the release planning. Why do we need release planning? It's because there's a roadmap we need to follow. Why do we need a roadmap? It's because it's a product vision. And why do we need a product vision? Because the company needs to deliver value. So this is something we can work out in less than 1 week. Most of our students, within the space of 1 week, they get their certification. For me, the reason I treat certification for 1 week is because that's not what you need. We have a lot of people, and you will agree with me, that have certification and they have been looking for a job for more than 5 months, 6 months, 7 months. They're not getting it. That's just to tell you that what certification is the first phase, which is why we treat that only for 1 week, or I treat that only for 1 week. Now, phase two is where I ask everyone to focus, to pay their attention in. What are the different aspects that are engaged in phase two, or what? How do I treat phase two? Now, for phase two, when anyone that go through my program, before they get into phase two, they have an entry phase where they need to learn how to create a product or to create a project, and how to create that as Scrum Master. How do you start putting in an idea from this is an idea to a Jira board? So it helps you to visualize how to plan those, what is called an epic, what is called a story, what is called um, a bug, what is called a task, how to break subtasks, and how that is represented in your Jira board. Just that understanding alone gives you more clarity into what happened. Now, most of you that have been taking interview, you agree that if they ask you a question, where, how, what are some of the reports you generate on your Jira board, or where can you find your report in your Jira board? You have no ideas because you have not actually gone through the practice. So the first two is where you actually practice and run those ceremonies by yourself, doing team breakout room, understanding all of that, so that when you get in the interview, even when you start working, you're not just blank. So majority of those who come out from our team are playing more of a role of an agile coach. Why? Because before they even get to an interview, they understand exactly what needs to be done. All right. So a lot of people feel like, oh, the first thing I need to do is my resume. Now, you might have a very beautiful resume, have as many calls as possible, but your goal is, if you can defend that in relation with your case study, in relation with your confidence, in relation with practicing, in relation with interviewing, and in relation with how to bargain salary and all of that, you will not still make it. You realize that sometimes a recruiter might call you and say, "Oh, what are your expectation in terms of salary?" And because you don't even understand what to say, your value, they will not go with you at that point. Which is some of the reason why some people, you have like calls here and there, but you don't go anywhere. So it's about the practice. And sometimes say, take time to practice. It's not just about, oh, let me get into the market. I understand what, no. I've had people that have gone into the market because they were not prepared, to lose their confidence in such a way that they went on break for about 6 months before coming back. You don't want to be in that space. Now, phase two, you also, before you build your resume and before you kind of build a case study, you need to already think through. You need to think about what? You need to think about how your onboarding and job verification will go. We have people that get in and then onboarding and job verification, they stop. So how do you put through that? How do you reflect yourself as a Scrum Master and you can defend it? Now, you need to understand that when you are interviewing, it's not a company that is employing you. They're people like you. So they just want to make sure that you understand exactly what it takes. Now, let's talk about the third phase. The third phase is about when you get the job, keeping it is very important. This is where we have now community of practice. And we had our community of practice meeting that came up this morning, and we had so many scrum masters that in our team, they're sharing what they're going on. And people started saying, oh, I thought I was the only one going through this. And that just encouraged you to know that every environment has its own unique advantage and disadvantage. They have their culture. And you might be coming in to say, oh, I know with Spring, you need for us to be agile, we need to run all the ceremonies. And then you get to a company, no, they don't care about reviews. It's like, oh, if you're not doing review, you're not agile. No, that's not the case. Companies have their unique culture. What you need to pay attention in, you need to understand that agile is just a compass, and everyone can adapt it based on what they need. The most important thing is for them to deliver value, right? And how do you help them deliver value? You help them facilitate collaboration. You help them to be able to reflect on help them to learn from what they're doing, and you help them to be able to present what their client need. That is what they need. Which is one of the reasons why one of your biggest value when you go to an interview is not to prove that you can say all the scrum ceremony from start to end. Is to show them that you understand that scrum is it's about delivering business value, and how you can help them deliver that business value using the Scrum framework. So if you talk about Scrum without showing the importance of how Scrum is used in delivering business value, then you definitely will be missing out a lot. So actually getting that training or that collaboration on the job is very, very important. And now you need to also think beyond Scrum. A lot of people don't know that there's so many wide, bigger opportunity beyond Scrum. If you know that, you will see the need to invest in yourself and to invest in actually going through a structure where you can already start visualizing. So now our community of practice do not just help people to say, oh, we'll come and we'll talk. Help give people the opportunity to also start coaching other people and to practice how they can start moving up the ladder in less than no time. Now, your ability as a Scrum Master is how fast you can learn through the process. So it's very important that many opportunity. You can become a release train engineer, an agile coach, a safe program consultant, a lead portfolio manager. You can become an enterprise coach. You can become a safe program consultant trainer. You can also become a product manager. There's so many limitless opportunities that are available for you. Now, the biggest point which where a lot of people get stuck is that, oh, this is too expensive. I cannot invest on this. Oh, I've been now. What you value is what you put your money in. If you don't value anything, you can put your money in. So we spoke about three different phases. Now the certification, where a lot of people are trapped with their certification and they're struggling from one end to another. They never take time to go through the practice. And now when they get on the job, they want to practice, and sometimes it's even too late. I've had people come to me like, okay, you know what, I'm ready to learn because I had a job, and after 3 weeks, after 4 weeks, they told me, oh, they don't need my expertise again. Why? Because they did not invest the time. Just imagine you securing an opportunity which is a six-figure, getting there excited, and after 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they tell you they don't need you again. This can be so difficult, which is why you want to take your time to make sure you're learning. Now, one of the stuff I want to kind of put in here as a point of advice. I know a lot of you kind of say, oh, you know what? I can figure this out by myself. I can work this out by myself. But I see someone they are doing an online or they're training for maybe $500. They're doing on this. You will realize that people can only ask the value of what they have. I can ask for what I don't have, right? So someone put in a session and say, "Oh, this is $400. This is $500," is in relation to what they can give you. And someone might put that same value and say, "This is $5,000." It's in relation to what they can give you. One thing you want to understand about coaching is the fact that it's not about what the person is saying, right? It's about the energy the person is transmitting. That is why you might listen to my video and you understand how I explain things to you. You go and listen to another person's video, they might use really sophisticated slides, and but you end up not even grasping what they're saying. Why? The difference is in the energy. The difference is in the energy and what the person is able to transmit. Now, how do you know, or how, what are some of the stuff that you can actually do? You can start putting in your questions. It's time for me to, done with my presentation. It's time for me to start taking your question. I know most of your question is like, oh, how much does it take to go through all the process? We can handle that, but then we can start going through the questions now, why I'm explaining what it takes to coach somebody to success. Now, the reason you have, let me use some of the big coaches out there. You're gonna have Tony Robbins say, okay, for me to coach you in a year, it's gonna cost you $100,000. Someone say $100,000 to coach. Yes, that's what Tony Robbins charge in a year to be in his coaching, and which is not one on one. If you want one on one, you need to pay more than that, right? The reason you are going to go through a 90 days program with John Maxwell and pay $25,000 is not because they can say what I cannot say. Is because of the value and the energy they have created, right? Which get them to that point. Now I can still take their books and I replicate that training, but because I have not been at that level, there's a value I need to command. So most often it's dependent on what you want to get, and what you put in is what you want to get. All right, let's get in with the questions and let's start answering them. I think I kept the presentation short. We still have about 32 minutes, no, about 38 minutes to get some questions and answers. So let's roll up with our question and answer. I know you've been waiting for this, which is why I want to take out the time to actually go through these questions and answer today. So the first question says that, what's the difference between Scrum Master and Product Manager? Okay, product manager is understand the entire product, from the product roadmap to what the customer want, and actually understand the budget that need and the resources that need. Most often a scrum master might not be required to understand in detail what the client want and what is the budget aspect of it. So the scrum master might not be required to understand that. So product manager can make decision, they can hire people, they can fire people. You, the scrum master, cannot do that. So are they sending? Oh, they are sending to me after seeing my resume. Okay, yeah. So if you have actually been a Scrum Master for a long time, you actually understand Agile product management, which they might also give you that offer. Some people might see your resume and might also send you an offer of a project manager, because a project manager is like a Scrum Master but having management power, right? So they kind of really really close together. Okay. Okay, so because your resume have assistant manager, okay, so you have the management part and the facilitation part. So you have the quality to become a product manager. That's the reason why you get that. All right, perfect. And product manager is focused on product. Okay, that's right. And Scrum Master is focused on Scrum team. That's correct. No. Now, the next question from Beatrice says that, how do we manage risks in Scrum, and what are example? All right, when you think about risks, one of the stuff I advise anyone that's going for Scrum interview is the fact that sometimes we think about questions to be so technical. No, they're not. Risks is okay. I want to use a very simple example that will help you to understand how to gonna rate. All right, let's say that you're about to fly to Las Vegas tomorrow, and there's an announcement that there's some stormy rain that might happen in the evening. That's a risk that you might not fly, right? Risk. Let's say that your team, you're facilitating a Scrum team, and uh, you have so many dependency, or you're depending on an external vendor to send in one of the requirements that will help you to deliver. That's a risk. It's a risk that if that doesn't come in on time, you might not finish. Let's say that you plan a sprint and you're working on 60 story point, and all of them require really high level testing, and you have just one QA. There's a risk that you might not be able to deliver that, because the capacity of the QA will not be able to carry all the stories that are within the sprint. So those are risks. How do you manage that? It's simply by communication. and looking at how to resolve it, communicating with whosoever have the power to resolve it. Might be your team, might be communicating with the management and have them support you. All right. How much do you charge? Okay. How much do I charge? I have 3 levels program depending on what you want. Now the Safe Scrum Master training, it's 99 $999 because it includes training on Jira as well. So it's a combination of you training as a Scrum Master and you training on Jira how to create your own Jira bot and other stuff. So it's a combination of those, and this also includes your certification fee. Now, for level 2, which is about training you to do the job, know how to do the job. Currently, all right. The reason I say currently because my pricing are is constantly changing. Some people might come like, "Oh, I watched a video about 4 months ago, and this is what you said." Now, no, we're improving our system every day. For level 2, it's constantly 2,000. Currently, $2,000 to get into level 2. There's no negotiation. There's no installment payment. For those who have the value, reach out to me. You can do that. Now, for level 3, which are those who are already Scrum Master and they want to join our community of practice and learn from the rich resources that we have and have on-demand coaching and have we support them for 90 days, one-on-one coaching. Right after 90 days, you are still part of the group, just that you don't get my one-on-one time. Right, level 3 for practicing Scrum Master is 3,000. Now, if you look at level 1, level 2, you put all of that together, it gives you the entire value of the program for how much? $4,000, right? Is that too much to get a six-figure job? That's based on you to judge. But when you go through the entire program with us, between the month of September, it's currently from level 1 to level 2 and helping you get in the job and training you on the job. It's currently $2,500 if you're starting from scratch and going through all the phases. There's definitely no discount. This is already discounted, so don't reach out to me and say, "Oh, I need a discount." If you're ready, reach out to me. I'm ready. We'll get you rolling. Okay, perfect. Next question says that how do you add value as a Scrum Master to your team? All right, adding value to your team, first of all, it's not you adding the value. It's about understanding your team members, right? What value do any of your team member bring into the team? So understanding them. How do you understanding them? How do you understand them? By having one-on-one session with them. So when you understand them, now you can now help them how to showcase that value by fostering communication, by fostering collaboration, and by helping them to estimate well. When you do that, you are actually bringing value and helping them deliver increment every sprint. So with that, you can bring more value to your sprint team. What about velocity? How do you increase velocity? Velocity, if you bring value to your team, automatically your velocity is going to increase. The reason why most of the teams struggle with velocity is because the team member do not want to accept the fact that they need to learn from their mistake. So they keep on committing more than what they can chew. Now, this is a challenge which is very real and it's very practical. The reason they do that is because most of the developers want to get senior management position, so they want to do more than what they should normally do so that management should recognize them. So sometimes it becomes very difficult, you, the Scrum Master, to even advise them to drop some of these stories. So it's something that needs to take you to build some level of trust and then help them to understand this. It's about constant dialogue you're going to have from one retrospective to another. It's not something that happened overnight. It's one step at a time. The most important thing when you join a team is to build trust. Why is certification coming first before phase 2? Okay, uh, for you, I love this question. Phase 2, you're doing the practical. For you to do the practical, you need to understand the theory. Certification is about learning the theory. You cannot start doing practical without understanding the theory. So that's why certification comes first before level 2. But you can start in any order. But I always advise get your certification so that if you start interviewing, if you start preparing your practice, you start getting ready within 2 weeks, you feel like, you know what, I can go in there and defend it. You don't have to think about going back to do the practical again. What report can you pull from Jira board? Okay. Good question, J. Philip. What report can you pull from the Jira board? You have your bend down chart, you have your bend up chart, you have your velocity chart, you have the sprint report. Those are the most common report that you can use. Now, there is also, it's not a common board, but something that can help you to increase the head of your team. It's you can also create a head check bot. uh, this is not common. I definitely will not want to bring this, but you can check about that. Uh, that help you to more or less do a presentation to your team members, and they can at the start of every sprint they can see how well they're doing, what how many stories are in progress, and all of that. When you say please be specific, which question are you talking about? Being specific about which question are you talking about? Be specific. All right, perfect. So I think we've done through all of the question. Oh, somebody said too expensive. It's too expensive because you're getting the value, you're not getting the price. So if you, I always tell people, oh, if you want the price, then uh, I can refer you online, right, where you can get the price. But if you want value, if you want somewhere that you want to learn how to be an effective Scrum Master, that's what we do. So we create time for our students. We don't just put them somewhere and then we leave them. Or after 2 days, they don't see it. Okay, about velocity, I thought I answered the question on velocity. So velocity, how do you improve velocity? I did say that the reason a team will be having challenges with their velocity, there are a couple of reasons that may cause that. The first reason is that they are overcommitting. And one of the reasons why they might be overcommitting is because people want to showcase that, oh, I can do more so that to gain recognition. And sometimes they might not even be willing to do that. So the first cause where that call your velocity back is the fact that your team is overcommitting. Now, the second point might also be that they don't understand how to estimate using normalized estimation. When we talk about normalized estimation, it's about using the Fibonacci sequence, right? Or the poker planning in the way that everyone is participating. We're having a full conversation on that. So if you can help your team kind of commit to only what they can deliver and to estimate rightly, then improve communication and collaboration, then your team become performant and their velocity goes up. All right. Do you help people get jobs? Okay, the only way I can help you get a job is to teach you how to get a job. So I don't, depending from what angle you're helping. What the help we're giving you to get a job is to teach you how to become certified Scrum Master, teach you how to take interviews, teach you how to build your resume, teach you how to run all of the Scrum event. If you can do this, there's nothing that will stop you from getting the job. So we teach you how to do what we help you get a job. So that's it. All right. I am presently in Nigeria. How can I get remote Scrum Master job? Is it possible to get a visa sponsorship? It's possible. It depends on the company. So if you see now, one of the way, if you're there and you want to get a remote sponsor job, you can leverage LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, if you have LinkedIn Premium, what you have access, you can talk with recruiters. So if you see a remote job, you can write directly to the recruiter and ask them if the company uh, uh, can sponsor can sponsor a visa. So if they interview you and you're good enough, they can sponsor you for a visa. Or if they interview you're good enough, they can even hire you to work from there, right? We have a lot of companies here that hire Scrum Master from India and other countries. So it's just about you finding the right fit. But then recruiting is definitely not my field of expertise, just a recommendation. All right. Someone say we are not living in US where we can make so much that money. Okay. I do understand for people that live in the UK, Europe, it's a different market because I've been there. So I always have a conversation with those that are in the UK market. But those that are in the UK market, the pound value is very high. You can do that. I had people from my team from the UK that they've gotten good, very good Scrum Master job. So except for those that are in Africa, which they say, oh, we cannot do that, that I can understand. But from those in the UK, that's not an excuse. Now, an advice for you: one of the steps you will need to be able to break in faster into the job market is to sacrifice. A lot of people don't want to sacrifice. They want to do try on their own and see what they get, and they get frustrated. It's a very tough mental journey. If you've been in an interview where you've been interviewed by five, six, seven people, and you're put in the spotlight, you will understand exactly what I mean. So you want to make sure that you're putting in the right energy to in the whole process. Okay. The next question say, what is the main role of a release train engineer in Scale Agile? The release train engineer is like what you would call the chief scrum master, right? The release train engineer, as the name is, in Scale Agile, we have PI planning, which is a 2 days event where the agile release train. So the agile release train is everyone that's part of the PI planning. The release train engineer is the facilitator. There are many agile teams within a release train. So the engineer simply means he facilitate and look at how dependency are happening, and also help to liaise the team at the program and the team level. That's the main communication. Help to put that transparency at program level, coordinate with people that are at the team level to make sure that they happen what they need to deliver is happening, and it's also the main facilitator in the PI planning. All right. So, and the next question say, can we say overcommitting is also goal plating? No, not all the time. People can overcommit because they don't know how to estimate. I've coached a team where they had estimate of 20 story point, a team of eight, and their velocity is 104, right? You cannot, that's because they don't understand many. Okay, now you need to understand that many companies are not they're still trying to learn what agile is, and they don't really consider. So overcommitting is not just gold plating. Gold plating is something you can say that we want to kind of showcase ourselves. It can be where the team know what to do, but the team want to prove that we are stronger than any other team, so they commit more. So that can be more like gold plating, if I may understand what you're trying to say. All right. Uh, Hi Mimi, how are you doing? Scrum empowerment, women in Scrum empowerment. Happy to have you here. So, how to measure team performance? All right, you measure team performance by the output, by the increment. That's the key metrics or indicator. How often are they able to deliver incrementally? Because the goal, whether we're looking at the bend down chart, the velocity chart, which are kind of guide, is only guiding us on what we are delivering at the end of the sprint. So if the team is able to deliver incrementally based on the release plan, they are hitting their release date. Now they are a performing team. Now you also measure your team performance by looking at the level of collaboration, the level of communication within the team. This also help you to know if your team is performing. All right, and the next question say how to assess team maturity. Team maturity simply means that your team can communicate, they can collaborate. Now, one of the things that is missing in most of the Scrum team is lack of collaboration. Let's say that Agi is a developer and Agi is having difficulty building a code. Now, Agi will prefer to record that as an impediment during a daily stand-up rather than reaching out to message Rita and say, hey, Rita, I have this challenge. Can we have a session where we can have a communication and talk that about. So if your team is not collaborating on their work, then they are not matured. So you measure team maturity, how they collaborate. Team maturity is simply talking about team performance. Now I did a video, I think last Monday, about the different levels of team performance. You can check that on YouTube. I said, whenever we have a team, the team go to storming. Storming simply means that if we put five people that have never met together in the same room, we're going to have a different ideology. Maybe somebody is too loud. And when they're loud, someone that is too calm, like, why is this person so loud? Right? Those idea, and that may annoy you. But if you live with that person, let's say for 3, 4 days, you realize that, oh, they're not just being loud for loud's sake. This is just their nature. And we start to understand each other. So we move from, when we form a team, we move to storming, and then we start normalizing, we start accepting our differences. When we accept our differences, we can now collaborate, right? If you know that, oh, my roommate or my spouse who doesn't like getting up in the morning, and you accept that, you're not going to fight with them. But if you know that they don't like getting up in the morning and you keep on waking them up at 5 a.m., you're always going to fight with them. So you learn to accept people differences, and then you start collaborating. That's when the team become mature. Right. So Tatiana say, please, how can you help an organization transition from waterfall to agile, and what are some of the challenges? All right. Agile transformation is not just the job of a Scrum Master. We had a scenario today during our community of practice where one of the Scrum Master is trying to help his team, but management is even the cost resistant. Management want what they want at all costs. So if management want what they want at all costs without thinking about the value the team is delivering, you realize that management is going to be a challenge, right? So agile transformation, first of all, start with you, with leadership. Now in SAFE, we teach what we call is called leading SAFE as a course, where we need to get a buy-in from management. Management need to understand what agile is. In most of the organization, the reason a lot of companies are going agile is because they want to have that public image. So they don't really care so much about the full care of transformation. And that is why you might see all what they do is daily stand up. They don't care about retrospective, which is the core of learning in agile. They don't care about reviews. So for you to help a team really transition, the first thing is that you want to help them shift from delivering a project to delivering what? From project delivery to product delivery. When we talk about project delivery, which is still one of the biggest bottleneck in the agile field, like, oh, we want this by tomorrow and we can go past tomorrow. That is project. Project is about time. We need time. We have a budget. We need to meet this. Now, agile product delivery, which is the transition you want, is about, okay, we want to focus on the value, the increment, the future, right? We want to make sure we build in quality. We are flexible with time, we're flexible with budget, but let's do everything possible to make sure that we are delivering that. So it's about helping them to shift from one mindset, which is about budget and time, to shift from one another to another mindset, which is about delivering value in increment. So how that's how you can help them to see a value in a different angle. Can you speak about scope creep? It simply means that we are going out of what we planned. Now, the reason we have sprint planning is because we want to be able to estimate what the team can deliver within the sprint, right? Sprint might be 2 weeks. Some company might have 3 weeks. In Safe, it's general agreed to be 2 weeks. But I've also seen situation in Safe where a sprint is 3 weeks, right? Now, scope creep simply means we plan that our velocity is 39 for this sprint, and we are going to actually focus on delivering this within that same sprint. Now a lot of things are coming up that were not planned. So in that case, what's going to happen? We're going out of what we actually planned. That is what we can term as scope creep. Now let's look at the next question. That's from Current says, but to get a job is not easy, especially here in France. So I think the price will be negotiable. And how do I contact you? I'm interested in level two. To get a job is it's not easy if you want to figure out everything on your own, right? There are a lot of support. I think also what happened with my team in UK, it's we had people that know how to get the interviews, know what they're doing to get the interviews, and we had some people that did not know. So One of the advantage for also belonging to a community is not just about you want to get question and answer, you want someone to answer your question. It's the learning we have from others. I always tell my team that, look, for me, one mastermind that engage about 30 people is stronger than having 10 one-on-one. 10 one-on-one is only what you can learn, only what you can ask me, what I can teach you also. Now, in a mastermind, when you have like 30, 40 different people doing the same thing, in less than an hour, they're asking so many points. There's so much knowledge in it. So there's definitely nothing like a mid mastermind. Karen, if you look on the description, you're gonna see my number. You can send me a text or WhatsApp. Please don't call. If you call, definitely you will not get an answer. Just send me a text, and if you send a text or and I don't you don't get a response, just follow up maybe after about if within 24 hours you don't get a response, do a follow up and I'll definitely get back to you. All right. So, how do you deal with stakeholders that don't come to the review? How can you make sure that they get their feedback? All right. Stakeholders that don't come to the review. The first thing is that with Scrum, you need to be able to set your calendar, make sure uh, everyone is getting an invitation to participate in the review. For a stakeholder that will not come to a review, if you notice that you have a particular stakeholder that don't come to a review, you probably want to go an extra mile to send them a reminder email, a reminder value email, not just an email to say, I just want to remind you that we have a review on Tuesday. No, it's more like, hello, Mr. Johnson. We have our next review coming up on Tuesday. Would you be able to participate in this review? Thank you for your feedback. What have you done? You have been able to coach. That's coaching, to coach that stakeholder to understand the value. Now, let me add a bit of more value there in coaching. Hello, Mr. Johnson. We have our next review coming up on Tuesday, and in this review, we're looking at the fifth spring, and we're looking at a very important feature that's require your feedback. Will you be able to participate in this review? Now you have posed a question to them that get them reflect on the importance, because some of them might not just be attending because they don't understand the value, right? So that is how you can go force them. It's about communicating effectively and giving them the importance of review. That was going to help them see if they need to come there or not. What are the various coaching models? Okay, the different coaching models, the persuasive, the coaching with powerful questions. You might also just coach by observing. There's so many. You have the autocritic, you have so many leadership. Now, most often when I talk about coaching model, it's linked to leadership. How will you lead people? Right. So, for Scrum Master, what's really important for you is I call my coaching model the value added model. So, when I sit with people, I'm not looking at, oh, we're going to have one session every week or we're going to meet 2 times every week. That's not important for me. That doesn't create result. I'm looking at what are we going to do that's going to help you create result. If what you're missing is building confidence, we're not going to start doing question and answer without building your confidence, because without the confidence you can't make it. So the value added approach, which is what you can term as your own, is that we focus on what is going to help us get the maximum value. When we focus on what is going to help us get the maximum value, everything else is embedded on it. So for a Scrum Master, persuasive, not using authority, but using persuasive language and using powerful questioning is the approach you want to use. Okay. All right. Walk me through PI planning as a Scrum Master. Okay, that's if you've not been in a PI planning session, if you're not attending that, you probably will not do that. For you to understand this question effectively, you want to have a training in PI, in SAFE. If you're not SAFE certified, our next training is coming up 19th of September, right? And we have a discount that's going up to the 15th of September. It's currently $999. But for those who register before the 15th of September, they get it at 699. Now, I'm also kind of just clarifying that after this period, it's not valid, right? I had someone reach out to me today, like, or someone reach out to, or someone attended your program 2 months time and they get this discount. So I want the same discount. That's not how it works. Sorry. So, so when I give prices, I give you the period where it is valid, right? So, and period where it is not valid. So you might come after that, and you might come next month, and we're no longer training at $1,000. We're training at $2,000. It's not because we need your money. It's because we are creating a program that gives you the value you need. We're in the market. We are having different coaches that are in the market. We're coaching at all the levels, so we understand how the market is shifting, and we're constantly building a program that will help you go through. We're not building a program that will help you stay and not know what to do. All right. So PI planning, the Scrum Master. I'm just going to give you a 30-minute summary of this. You can get more details on that. The Scrum Master actually, the role in PI planning happens in breakout room 1 and breakout room 2. Breakout room 1, which is day 1, you're helping your team to make sure that they're only planning what they're breaking the futures into iteration depending on the cycle of the PI. PI cycle may run from 4 iteration to 6 iteration, but I've also seen in practice environment that go up to even 7 iteration. So you're helping your team break down their futures into iteration. You're coordinating dependency, you're coordinating the identification of risks, and then what you're also doing, you're participating in the Scrum of Scrum. In day 2, which is breakout room 2, because at the end of the first day, management review and look at where we have conflicts, look at where we have risks, and try to regulate it. Now you help your team to now adjust the plan based on management feedback, and then you close up with roaming the risks, a vote of confidence, and then retrospective for that PI. Can you touch? Can you touch on increment, velocity, user story? Now, increment simply means that what are we delivering? An increment, let's say, we are committing to 30 story points, or we are committing to um, 39 story points, right? What is going to be the outcome after we complete this 39 story point? That's when we talk about increment. Now, user story is the smallest amount of unit that define the work that need to be done in the user's language, right? Velocity is how much the team is willing to commit to. So this might be different from the capacity. Capacity is the available resource or the available time the team have to do work. But what they commit to is called velocity. And yeah, what they commit to is called the velocity. But you also have in safe what they call the load, right? Now, if let's say that we have an average velocity of 6 story point per developer per sprint, and I have 5 developers and all of them available during a sprint, then I can calculate their velocity to be 6 times 5, which is what? Which is 6 times 5 is 30. So their velocity is 30. But because we are leaving out time for technical depth and other stuff, we can only commit to 25 story points. So our load is 35, despite the fact that we have the potential to complete 30 story points. What's the difference between an epic and a story? Okay, epic, it's more like a future. Epic contains several stories. Stories is a breakdown of epic into smaller parts, right? That's the easiest way I can explain that. The difference between definition of ready and definition of done. Definition of ready simply says that what do we need to have in place to be able to pull a story into a spring backlog, right? When a story get into a spring backlog, it means that story is ready for development. What are the processes we need? What do we need? When the story need to be pointed, the story need to have someone assigned to, the story need to have acceptance criteria, the story need to have detailed description, or the team member working on the story need to understand what the story, what is recommended, what effort is recommended. So we say that's ready. Now, definition of done, a lot of people make this mistake and they say, oh, definition of done is it's other of the say definition of done is related to the acceptance criteria. What are the lists we need to do to complete the story? It's part of it. Now, the acceptance criteria is part of the definition of done. Definition of done simply means what are the different steps when a story is in the backlog, it's in the sprint backlog. How many steps does it need to go through for us to consider that this story is completed? The last phase it go through is that they do a checklist to make sure that all the acceptance criteria are completed. But definition of done include how the column in your board, is it your ADO board or your Jira board, how the column are structured is what help you to understand the different processes, and that's what help you to understand what the definition of done is. So the definition of done is not only about acceptance criteria; it's the different processes that a story in a spring backlog need to go through for us to validate that it is completed. Okay, if you are PSM1 certified, safe it's an advantage for you. There are so many Scrum Master role out there that requires you to say, oh, we are only accepting those who are safe certified. Now, PSM is completely different. PSM will talk about team, how to facilitate as a Scrum Master at the team level. When we talk about safe, we're talking about how to not just facilitate at the team level, how to assist in program planning at program level, and how to also collaborate in a more complex environment. That's the added value of safe. What does people over processes look like in practice? People over processes. This is it's about company culture, right? It's about what the clients want. Let's say that Scrum says that we need to run a sprint planning, we need to run a daily stand up every day. We need to do a backlog. We need to do a sprint review. We need to do a retrospective. That is a process, right? But then let's say that for some reason your team has been overwhelmed trying to deliver, trying to release an increment. And because of the nature of them being overwhelmed within that period, you might want to just pull out a couple of daily stand up just to give them more time to breathe. So we are now focusing on people over the process. Let's say that your customer come in and say, you know what, I need this to be delivered to me by the end of tomorrow, and you've earlier agreed with the customer that okay, we can only get this in the next 2 weeks, but they come and say, oh, things have changed, we want to get this tomorrow. You cannot say, oh, because we already agreed in 2 weeks we can do. That's a process. Now you need to negotiate with the person. That's what it means in practice. Where does the Togman model fall in that one of coaching model that can be used in Scrum? Togman model is about the the five level of team performance: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. So that's the Togman model. It simply make you to understand that every time anyone join the team must go through a process, right? Let's say that when you join a team as a Scrum Master, when you new hire as a Scrum Master and you join your team, you realize that you have some pushback. People are a bit skeptical. Is she going to be, or is he going to be so picky on us? So because of that, they're too careful the way they answer you. They are going through storming. It might take them, if it's a performing team already, it might take them very little time to adjust, right? As if it might still take them more time to gain your trust, depending on the way you deal with them. So when every member join a team, the team go back to storming. Then the team can quickly move from storming to forming to normalizing to, so the team is always going forward and back a top model if the team is fluctuating, right? So that's why if a new team member join your team, it might affect the velocity. And that is also why they say that velocity alone cannot tell you if the team is performing or not. Because let's say a team is delivering 50 story point and you look at their velocity, your report and their velocity chart. So, oh, this team is a performing team. Let's say that half of that work they're delivering is coming back to them as technical debt. Are they performing? No. Why? Because they're compromising on quality. Oh, with fast spend our time. Man, that time went so fast. We've been here for 1 hour. Okay, so I'm gonna take all the other questions rapidly and we are gonna close it for today. So definitely see you next Saturday. I might do another live video within the week, somewhere around Wednesday. But if I have to do that, I will program it ahead of time. So you want to make sure that you follow me on all my on Facebook, Instagram, and also on YouTube, so that if I set that live, you get a notification and you'll be able to join. Uh yeah, you can always come back. If you're watching on LinkedIn, you can always come to my page and record. Or you go to my YouTube, it's always gonna be there. So you can always get access to all of this recording. Yeah. Can you explain what a dependency is all about? Okay. Just the way it means, right? I always like to use non-practical case to explain so that when you get in there, you don't feel like I'm explaining technical stuff. Let's say that we want to build, carrying out a construction project, right? In a construction project or in a house, you have to build up the house, right? They need to come in and do plumbing. The electrician need to come in. For the plumber to come in, the bricklayer need to first of all come in and build their foundation and all of that, right? So the plumber is dependent on the bricklayer to finish their work before they complete. The same, the reason we have release planning in Agile is because there's a step-by-step process in the way work needs to be done. So a dependency might simply mean that you're waiting for one part of the work to be done so that you can build your own part of the work, right? Let's say that we're building a payment gateway for Amazon, for instance. Now, the first thing to do is to be able to configure all the APIs, how it's going to behave before the user, someone, the front end developer come in and lay it out on the column where you can pay and all of that. So for the front end developer to come in and do that work, you need to wait for the back end developer to set all the configuration before they can come in, to write all the code before they can come in. So because of that, what is happening? Because of that, we are having a dependency. All right. So many questions. I'm just gonna do a 1 minute question summary for that. How much is the price for coaching for a job for someone who is Scrum certified? If you're Scrum certified and you want coaching, we coach you through it's $2,000. So that's a straight answer. If you want to know what it takes, you can send me a text. I can send you a video on what we go through and what value you're getting from there. Which one will you recommend, CSM or PSM, for easy employment? All of them have the same value. PSM, it's a more difficult exam than CSM and SAFE, right? For those who have taken the PSM exam. Yeah, CSM is just that you go through a trainer. When you're interviewing, they don't really pay so much attention whether it's CSM or PSM. No. The only difference they might pay attention is if you are SAFE certified, because SAFE is a bit more advanced compared to CSM and PSM. Why do you want to be a Scrum Master in our company? Talk about your company values and talk about uh, your goal as a Scrum Master is to help them deliver business, to help them enhance their business value. So you want to help them improve more on their business value. You don't want to facilitate and remove impediment. Talk about the business value. All right. Okay, perfect. So our time box is up for today. I'm going to take more questions if you continue to put them. on the bot or put them on the YouTube channel. Sometimes it get too busy that I might not look at those. So if for some reason I don't see your question, always make sure you comment on the next video so that I can see it. Sometimes I go pick up those questions and I do another video just to answer those questions as well. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. It's been great today, and I want to thank all those for joining in. Please, before you go, make sure that you at least click the share button so that other can get the information. If this was useful to you, I guess it's also going to be useful to your network. So just click the share button. That's going to be you telling me that okay, these videos are helpful. Let's meet again another time to do the video, right? But if you're only listening and you're not sharing, it's also going to demotivate me to get more videos out there. All right, thank you. And for those who follow me on YouTube, on my pages, on Instagram, please always make sure you leak a like, you leak a comment. That is very helpful. That's your own part of support, which is going to help kind of spread the news, right? The goal is for us to make sure that everyone is having value. Everyone know exactly what to do. This is just to say our point is not to get you pay money. Our point is to get you to get the value. If you get the value and you feel like, oh, this is what I need to pay, then you can come in. If not, this is not really going to stop us from delivering the value every day. Mondays, Wednesday, Fridays, I have YouTube video. Instagram now is going to be daily video, 1 minute video every day for the next 90 days. So I'm just gonna drop my Instagram handle here. You can follow me on Instagram at my Instagram name is Coach Francis Mbunya. You can follow me there. I'll start rolling out those videos on Monday. All right, team. I'll see you in the next video.